and start looking at the process that let it happen. Because a weak system will make a good person look careless. Welcome to The Real Place. I'm Wilson Flanoy. Today, we're talking about how to design and work so mistakes have fewer places to hide. And so your best people stop looking like they're the problem. Let me start with the simple truth for you today. The best quality systems do not rely on hope. They make the wrong move harder to make. In Lean, we call this mistake proofing, or Poka. The goal is not to catch errors after they happen. The goal is to prevent them from happening in the first place. That is a different mindset. One mindset is very reactive. It waits for something to break and then it scrambles. The other is designed. It expects humans to be humans and it shapes the work around that reality. If your own work and business or team, you already know this pain, the reoccurring mistake, the wrong address on the shipment, the missing attachment on an email, the intake form is only half complete. You coach, you correct, and you send a reminder again. And somehow the same thing still slips through. After a while, it starts to feel personal. You begin to think they just don't care enough. But that's not the case. What I want to offer you today is a different way to see it. Most of the time, that reoccurring mistake is not really about care. It's about design. From training problem to design problem. A lot of business owners think the answer to reoccurring errors is more training. Sometimes training is a part of the answer, but it's not fully the answer itself. People do not need to know how to do something over and over again and be repeated. They need to better understand what good looks like. Often the real issue is that the process itself is too easy to mess up. The wrong field is in the wrong place. The form is asking a tired brain to remember something it will not remember at 5:30 in the evening. The checklist is too vague. The handoff depends on memory instead of a simple prompt. The system is asking people to be perfect when it should be helping them to be accurate. That is not a character flaw. That is a design failure. I want you to hear that, especially if you have been frustrated with a team member or even with yourself. A design failure, not just a people issue. All right, so let me give you an example. The missing intake detail. I worked with a service team that kept making the same client intake mistake. Every week, someone would forget one key piece of information that was needed later in the process. It was always the same missing detail. Every time it caused a delay and a second phone call to the client. Think about that. You do the form, you get to the last step, and then have to call a client. The team was frustrated because nobody woke up thinking, I want to waste time and annoy people today. The owner was frustrated because it made them look sloppy. The business, it looked like they didn't know what they were doing. The client was annoyed because from their side, they felt like they had already taken care of the issue. We already told you what to do. Why are you calling again? If you have ever been in any one of these positions, you know what that feeling is. When we slowed down, looked at the process, looked at the actual intake, the problem was obvious. The key question was on page 2 of the form, after section that people often skip. When they were busy, there was no visual cue, no required field, no pause that said, you cannot move on until this part is completed. The fix was simple. We changed the intake form. So the next step could not happen until the key question was answered. The screen literally would not move forward until that box was completed. No drama, no lecture, no 30-minute training session with slides that everyone would forget in 2 days. Just a better design. What happened? The error rate dropped almost immediately. Not because people suddenly became more careful, but because the process stopped inviting the mistake. Now sit with that. Are you doing the same thing? That is mistake proofing at its clear vision. What mistake proofing really is Mistake proofing uses the shape of the process to guide behavior, respects the fact that people are tired, distracted, juggling 3 or 4 things at once, and it says, given that reality, how do we protect the work? How do we ensure quality and consistency? It can look like a required field in your software that will not let you continue on until filled in. It could be a visual cue. It could be a bright sign, an icon, a word to tell someone that this part should never be skipped. It can be a checklist that lives exactly where the work happens, not in a forgotten file drawer or a binder. It can be a physical limitation, a connector that only fits one way, a box that only accepts the right size, a template that lines everything up. It can be a confirmation step before a handoff, a quick read back, a screenshot, a simple, did we get this part right? It can be nearly anything. The point is to make the right action the easiest action. Lean does not ask, how do we punish mistakes? Lean asks, how do we make them less likely to occur, even on a bad day? Come on, think about that. Another example, I was working with a team about a billing error. And this is what happened. There was a small service business where invoices kept going out with the wrong rate for a particular service. One client would get underbilled, another would get overbilled. Every month, someone was chasing corrections. The owner felt embarrassed and a little angry, as they should. The bookkeeper felt attacked. They had the same conversation every 30 days. Think about that. You have the same conversation with your finance department every 30 days? The first instinct was, we need to sit her down, go over the rates again. We need to remind her how important accuracy is. That might feel satisfying in the moment. It also misses the real problem. When we mapped the process, we saw that the rate for that service lived in 3 different places. There was an old spreadsheet, a price list in a folder, and a note on a sticky that had once made sense. The bookkeeper was constantly flipping between screens, remembering numbers, typing them in by hand, plenty of room for error, especially at the end of the day when energy is low. The solution was not more pressure. It was one simple source of truth. We created a small service catalog inside the billing system so that for each client and each service, the rate was a pick from a list, not a memory test. Once it was set correctly, it did not change unless someone intentionally changed it. No one got a speech about caring more. The owner and the bookkeeper agreed on the new design. The mistakes dropped because we stopped asking a human brain to do what a simple system could do better. Are you doing that? Are you asking a human to do something a system can do better? Well, if you are, here are 3 common traps. There are 3 traps I see again and again when people think about quality and mistakes. First, treating recurring mistakes as personality flaws. You start using labels. They are careless. They do not pay attention. They are lazy. Once you put the label on someone, you stop being curious about the system that surrounds them. Think about that. Are you mislabeling a person? Second, hiding behind training when the form or the workflow is the real issue. Training matters, yes. People need skills and clarity, but if the layout of your screen invites the wrong click, all the training in the world will not save you on a busy Monday. Think about that. Does the screen and does your systems make sense? Third, adding complexity instead of reducing error paths. The instinct is to add more steps, more signatures, more approvals. That often creates more confusion, more delays, and yes, more opportunities for mistakes. The goal is not a fancier system. The goal is a safer one, a simpler one. Your work and your life will give you examples. Think about the website that lets you submit a form without the crucial attachment. Think about the home service company that keeps missing the same detail about gate codes or pets because there is no place to record it. Think about the business that sends appointments with the wrong time zone because the calendar template was never set up right. In each of those, you can yell at people and you can change the shape of the process. But bringing this into your business, you shouldn't. So how do you bring this mindset of mistake proofing, Poka, into your business or your own team? Step 1, notice the pattern. Pay attention to the things that go wrong more than once. When you feel the familiar frustration rise up, pause and say, this is data. This is not just annoyance. This is a clue. Spot that clue. Step 2, get close to the work. Go to the place where the mistake happens. Go to the Gemba. Watch someone actually do the task. Sit beside them, on the phone, at the desk, in the field. Ask them, show me exactly what you do when you send this email or when you open this ticket. You will see where their eyes go, what they scroll past, what they have to remember. Take note. Step 3, look for the easy invitation to error. Is the critical step hidden? Is the information in 2 different places? Is the button to send right next to the button to delete? Does the process depend on someone holding the whole thing in their head? Then, step 4, make a small design change that makes the right move easier and the wrong move harder. One change, not a complete rebuild, a required field, a bold label, a prompt, a simple checklist, a single source of truth, something that helps people do the right thing without needing superpowers the first time. You do not have to be a lean black belt to do this. You just have to be willing to believe that the system is part of the story, not just the person. Your challenge? So here is your challenge for this week. Go back. Identify one mistake that happens too often in your business or in your work. Not 10, not a whole wall full of stickies. 1. Write it down in simple words. We keep forgetting to do this. We keep sending the wrong that. We keep missing this step. Then go to the place where that work happens and redesign the step so the mistake becomes harder to make. Put the crucial field where the eyes already go. Add a check at the exact moment the handoff happens. Move the reminder from your head into the system. And if you want to go one level deeper, share it. Comment with the one mistake you are going to redesign and the small change you made to block it. Not because the internet needs more confessions, but because other owners and leaders can learn from your design. Now sit with that. What mistake are you going to look at this week? Because a weak system will make a good person look careless. A strong system will let that same person shine. When you shift from blaming people to redesigning processes, you get fewer fires, fewer apologies, and more days where the work just flows. You also get something else, respect. Respect for the people who show up every day in, day out, and respect for the work itself. I am Milton Flanoy, and this is The Real Place. Make the right move easier on purpose, and watch what happens to your quality, your team, and your peace of mind.